Okay, can you all hear me clearly? I guess. Before we start, I just want us to know that this class is hands-on, so I will need you guys to speak, to send messages, because that's the best way you can learn from this class. So let us kick off. I just need to get my glasses on. So in today's masterclass, we're going to look at product management, and I suppose you guys have seen the case study. If you haven't, please have a look because that is going to be important for this class. So I want to say hello and welcome to the masterclass. And in this session, we will go into the responsibility of a product manager and the key phases of product development and how you then navigate around building a successful product. I will also go quickly into a few things because it's important before we kind of dive into the practical side of things. Okay, so what will I be telling you about? I'll be talking about, introduction to product management, and then case study. A little bit about me. My name is Celeste. I have a diverse background in various industries, fintech, fashion, medtech, oil and gas, and more. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to wear different hats and consulting for different companies. As you can see there, some of the companies I've worked for. And also I have co-founded two startups as well. And really, I help, or hopefully I'm going to be able to help you gain perspective and broad knowledge about product development across, different sector. But today we're going to focus on a different sector, and we already have a case study. If you want to connect with me, that's my scan there. Just scan, and then we can talk more. I'll just give you 2 seconds to scan if you really wanted to do that. But yes, without wasting your time. So the question is, what does a product manager, what do they do? Or product management? Product management is the backbone of building any successful product. A product manager is responsible for ensuring that a product does not only meet the needs of customer, but also align with business goals. So, for example, if you're working for a company and they said, Abigail, you're the product manager here. We want to build a new system and implement a new system. Go ahead, get that done. So you're responsible for that product to be delivered. And that's what that means. Now, responsibilities. It's important for you to know your responsibility. You will find out when we get into the case study. As a product manager, you're in charge of, prioritizing and analyzing market research, road mapping, strategy, product development. And there are different things, different skills that you actually need to be able to carry all those tasks out. Even you have on here, you'll probably be project managing as well. And God help you if you don't have other people that you're also leading as well. So the skills we have here is teamwork that is required, leadership, problem solving, stakeholder management, analytical communication, and the ability to prioritize. I'll just focus on 2 things here. So I think in the last class, Alimadi focused on communication, but I don't know if everyone was in the last class, so I'll just take it again. Communication is you are going to be the primary contact person between the team and the stakeholder and the business. And you need to be able to clearly communicate effectively to these various stakeholders, to these various people. So if business say they want something, you're able to tell your development team, this is what they want. You're able to translate that into requirements, you're able to prioritize them, and the team are able to develop that. So it's important for you to be able to communicate. And analytical, I think that one is really important because a lot of things do happen when you're working in product, good and bad. So with analytical, you need to be good with your, understanding your data, your product metrics, your feedback, the way your feedback will inform you about the decision you're making. I'll give you an example on this. Say, for example, you're working in a fintech company and then a problem occurred, a customer cannot do a certain transaction, and they called your company or they put something on Twitter. What would be the first thing you would do as a product person? I know you might not know much, but tell me, what do you think you should do if you found out that one of your customers cannot do a certain transaction and they put it all over Twitter or they send a message to the company? What would be the first three things you think you should do as a product person. If you want to speak, please unmute yourself because this is the best way you're going to learn. And also, speaking helps you because sometimes you think you know the answer in your mind, but when you say it out loud, it might not be the correct thing. So you also have to practice how to speak. As a product person, you will be speaking a lot. So it's important for you to speak. So can someone give me, hi Kate, can you give me something that you'll be thinking about if you have this problem and you're trying to analyze and kind of like trying to solve the problem? What would be the first thing you would do as a product person?
Hi, from me. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I mean, for me, I feel as a product manager, you have to be very, very close to the customer store as well. So I feel like I believe I would reach out to the customer directly just to confirm their claim one and try to resolve it for them as fast as possible.
Okay, that's good. Any other points? Yes, I can hear you. Yes, Abigail. Yes.
I personally, like Imam said, after reaching out to the customer to confirm the complaints, we make sure it's documented and then an action is taken, perhaps trying to fix it or to check if there is maybe with the engineering team or if it's a product that's live, to just check what the issue is and try to attend to it, seeing as it's online already.
Okay, that's great. That's really good. Thanks for those inputs. So yes, you have to know who your customer is, who is having that problem, so you can speak to them to really understand the problem, the pain points, the challenges they're facing. You can really understand. You also need to find out if you can check how many customers. So if they say, "Oh, we're trying to do this, we can do it this." Why? So is it like a business banking? Is it commercial banking? Is it investment? What is the problem they're having? Then you'll be able to narrow it down to how many customers and then check, did we have a new feature release? Maybe that's what is affecting it. In your architecture, in building out the payment structure or the feature that had that issue. Is there a third party provider product there? You can check out and see what the problem is. So you see, you're trying to resolve, you're analyzing, you're communicating, you're using all your analytical skills to be able to find out, which I think it's really important. I know it's very important in products because I do this every day. So now I wanted to just really quickly before we move to the practical, you need to know a little bit before we move to the practical because the practical will not make any sense or the case study will not make any sense if I don't go through this. So product life cycle, we have four different stages. I split it into four. So you have the discovery phase, the development phase, the launch phase, and the post-launch iteration. So the development phase is where you kind of like research the problem, you understand the user's needs, and then you define the problem space. And then the development phase is where, all the ideas then turn into actual products. And then, you put that with the development team and if it's a software platform or software application, they can then build that. Then launch phase is when you release it and you get feedback because the feedback helps you to improve your product. And then you iterate from there. You get the feedback, you improve the product, you understand your customers, and also ensure that it aligns with the business objective as well. Now, the best way to predict the future is to invest in it. I like this quote. If you're looking to build yourself in any area, you need to invest time in it. So I implore you, if you're interested in doing anything, it could be technology, it could be building your career, just try and spend some time in it and you'll get the rewarding. I just wanted you guys to have that so you're motivated. Now, let's begin. So now I have given you guys a case study and I hope you guys have had a read. If you haven't seen it, please check the and you should be able to see that because that will help you understand what we're trying to do today. Kind of summary of what, sorry, one second. Okay, kind of summary of what the case study is about. So a significant number of people struggle to find effective solution for their hair care needs, particularly individuals with Afrotextural hair. This demographic often faces challenges such as dryness, breakage, and difficulty in finding products that cater specifically to their hair type. I'll give you a backstory. So there is a website, this website, they sell products to their customers, hair oil, different things to their customers. And then their customers started commenting and they commented and the comments went over 136. And the users were literally just complaining that oh, I want to be able to care for my hair. What can I do? I have dryness, I have breakage. What can I do? They're just really talking about some of the problems and challenges they're facing. And that's how this was born. So that's how we were able to, get this problem. But in everything you do when it comes to a product, you need to validate. You just don't assume that all this problem you read is actually correct. You need to validate it. So what do we then do? We then go into product discovery. So I've put this here for you to know that as a product person, remember the four things I said. I said your product life cycle, you have like four different things, stages. You kind of like, I just make it into four so it's easier to understand: the discovery phase, development phase, launch phase, and post-launch. So this is the discovery phase. These are the things you would do as a product person on every project if you are going to do product discovery. It's so important you have this sort of like idea in your mind, because then when you're starting that product discovery, I need to do interviews, I need to do surveys, I need to do observations, I need to maybe see how they do their work. If it's kind of like a new platform you're implementing, I need to know the current state. What's the data? What data do they have? I just told you guys that there is like 136 comments. That's like data for you there to analyze. And all those data that you're analyzing, you'll be able to get pain points from them. You'll be able to get challenges that they're facing and stuff like that. You have to come up with the vision, the problem statement, all these things that is written here. You are definitely going to do that. Some of it, depending on where the project is, you might not need to do them. But it's important that it's kind of like your cheat sheets, your Bible. You need to follow them. And I also, when you start a new project or when you a new initiative, whatever role you find yourself when it comes to product, the first thing you ask for is, who are my stakeholders? It just means that, who am I going to be working with? Who are my core team? Who are the development team? Who are the marketing, legal, compliance? Who is the senior directors? Who is the C level? Because then you're able to kind of like map out your stakeholder metrics. Then you are able to do all those interviews that you plan to do when it comes to your discovery. So this is where we need inputs from everybody, because this is where the exercise then begins. Now we know that there's a problem. How do we then solve that problem? How do we understand the problem statement? How do we do all that? So we start with this. What do we think the current situation is? Just based on the case study, what do we think the current situation is? I want to hear from you guys.
The
We don't
current
know the
sit
answer?
I mean, yeah, you're asking what the current situation is here.
Yes.
With the turnout or the significant number of people that are like facing, they need hair care needs, they need how to take care of their hair, in particular Afro textured hair. So it's not
Okay.
just everybody. Yeah, I feel that's the problem right now.
Okay, that's really good. I will probably say you're right. So we can say, just based on the current situation, we will make a lot of things up. The reason is because, of course, those kind of information would have gotten it while we're gathering all the data and all those quantitative analysis that we're doing. So we say the current situation right now is that, young girls and women, they really have knowledge gap in using the right tools, like like products. I told you about some of the comments, like some of them, they don't know the tools to use, they don't know the right products to use and stuff like that. So that's kind of like some of the problems they have. So I'll just put here and say, let me see. So let's do this. Wait 1 second. So current situation is, I don't really need to type it, but I just want you guys to know. So we say, okay, so I kind of like put it in this section. So we say young people, because we gave it, I think we gave age, which is, I think, is it 18 or 20 to 45? I can't remember on the on the case study. So young girls, they have knowledge gap in using different tools for their hair products and hair care routine. And of course, they end up becoming a product junkie, and their problem is still not fixed. And really, the desired outcome is for them. What do we think the desired outcome will be? One thing you need
Bad
to know,
hair.
this. Yeah, one thing you need to know, these are the things you will do on a daily basis. So it's not, what I'm asking is not out of character. It's something that you will be doing every day. So you need to be able to think, even if you feel like it's not correct, just say it, and then, we can decide if it's good, and then we go from there. So what did you say, Iman?
I mean, just a bad hair, maybe, or unhealthy hair, something like that.
Desired
That's what they.
outcome. What's the desired outcome? Like, what do you think the user's desire outcome is?
Oh, okay. What I mean, it will be a beautiful, nice hair, I believe. Yeah, a beautiful,
Hmm.
nice hair.
So we say, let's say, gain the right knowledge to achieve healthy hair, right? That's really what they really want. So what do they believe? Of course, they believe in a lot of things. They have so much things in their mind. They're saying, it's difficult to achieve healthy hair. Too much information are out there with no structured direction. There's lack of product knowledge, lack of motivation. There is no time. Most of the time, that's what they say. There's no time. There's no time to do anything. I'm so busy. I don't have any time. I can't look after my hair. So it's good to have this. You will see why this part is important, because it will form some of the ideas for your products, your problem statements, your vision, and also what you want to offer your users. So that's why it's important to kind of like have this and know, okay, what's the current situation, what's the ideal situation, and what do they actually believe that they are finding difficulty in. So one thing I did mention, if you remember in the discovery kind of cheat sheet, I did mention that it's important for you to do like interviews. You'll probably be doing interviews with users. You have like a survey. You have like you probably sit with people to see how they do things and stuff like that. I think I've shared the questions around on the survey form, so we can read it. It'll be good if you can send it just round, if you see if anybody can complete it, and we can get numbers out of it. You can complete it, and then those information we use it to inform us. So let's just see. So this is some of the questions. You are going to be designing these questions yourself. And always remember, you don't need to use a lot of information. You need to make it so simple because your users get bored so easily. I'm one person. If you ask me too much question, I'm just like, I don't have that time. So you need to make sure you need to be aware of the time of your user, and also you want to get feedback quickly. So you have to make your survey questions really streamlined. So what do we want it? What should we call you? It's good to ask that question so that at least we have a name. It might not be your name, whatever name anybody wants to put there, that's fine. A little bit about you. The reason is you don't just want to jump into the question you're trying to ask from them. You just want to try to get to know them. So which is good. And then, also knowing about them can help you and inform you of the kind of products and the plan you can have for them in this situation. So in this problem that they might have. So number three is, what is the main challenge you're facing at the moment in regards to your hair? And how have you tried to solve this? So we're trying to understand what have they tried to do in the past, because it will inform us to say maybe they don't have the right product that they're using. Maybe they have the right product, but they just don't know how to use it. And what has prevented them from solving this problem? Some of them can say time, some of them just get bored, or they don't they just don't know where to go from there. So have you guys seen the questions, and what do you guys think about the question? Um do you have any questions or asks about it? And if not, I can go ahead to the next. So the feedback you get from here, you are going to use the feedback. This you would do on a daily basis on your job. So you have to get used to doing surveys and getting to know your users. Even sometimes before you even do surveys, say for example, Thai Kid is working in one of the operations departments, you can get to know him or her and say, hello, I just want to know what's happening here before you even go away to kind of like build a survey. That's why in the beginning I said, know who your stakeholders are. This will help you to understand different teams and build relationships. Then you can then start seeing how you can formulate your your questions. Now we move on to pain points and values. From the survey, a lot of people have completed that form. Is it possible to see if anyone complete the form? Anyone, Abigail or something? If not, we can just go straight to the pain points and come up with different things, and we see where that takes us. So,
I mean,
using your own personal experience, what do you think could be the problem when it comes to hair care? Anyone?
considering our scenario, our case study, I mean, time.
Cool, that's good. So I would probably say time consuming is time consuming, right? Let's say dryness. Let's say things like breakage. We can also say things like, when I say dryness, so sometimes when the hair loses moisture, it breaks off really quickly and becomes brittle. And breakage is same thing, lots of friction. Maybe you don't know how to detangle your hair, and we can say maybe possibly limited products. So maybe you don't have the correct products, limited product option. Limited product option, we can say lack of knowledge as well. Yeah, does that make sense? If it makes sense, please thumbs up. And if the class is making sense, let me know. If you need me to explain any part, let me know as well. And sometimes product overload, sometimes there's just too much products. You don't even know where to go from there. Product overload. So as you look at the survey, you get all this from there. Remember, the survey, you could use different means to get your information. Use survey, you could write like a small form of a paragraph, send it out. It could be a phone call, it could be a WhatsApp message, because what you need is to get the feedback from the users. You can interview them if they have time and you have vouchers to offer, or if you don't have voucher and they're happy to spend like 5 minutes of their time, interview them, record them. It could be like maybe on Teams, and you ask them those questions. You ask them if they don't mind you to record, and then you record. The reason why you're recording is to be able to get that information and analyze it. Sometimes you might not be able to capture all that information at once. So those are the different means you can use to get that information. You don't have to use just one way. I think interview is really good. The survey is perfect as well, but interview is good because you get to understand the user. And then the value that, after all this situation has happened, what is the value we're thinking of bringing? So for time, probably say you want moisture retention. So this is when you have products in your hair, you have lots of moisture, and your hair is hydrated. It improves the overall health of that. You possibly want your curls to be defined. So you want, when you put all the correct products on your hair, you don't want it to cause frizz. You want it to look clean, nice, and polished. You want your hair to be stronger and healthier. Stronger and healthier hair. And we talk about time. So a lot of people say, oh, I don't have time. So time saving solution that will help them. We could probably look at customization as well and personalization. My brain is faster than my hand always. Yeah, personalization. And the list can go on. When I say customization, personalization, what I mean is you personalize hair care routine for your users, products based on individual hair type, texture, and specific needs that will help them. And some users we talk about, they have scalp issue, something that will help them promote scalp health and address the issue of dryness they might have, flake and irritation. And they just need to have the correct products to use. So once you gather all the pain points, that is a job you will do. That's where the analyzing comes in, the skills analyzing to be able to look at your survey and your interviews and all that kind of good stuff and kind of analyze that, put that into pain points, your empathy map, pain points, the value you want to have from there. To know what your users are complaining about is so important. You can't go with gut feeling. I think my user need, no, you need to know exactly what their problem is. So now we move on to trying to understand a few things about our users. So yes, the reason why we try to understand the pain points is to ensure that we know our users and any problem and challenges that they're facing, and then the solution out of that. So now we want to try to understand our target audience, like who are our target audience. I think from the case study I sent out, we talk about women with Afro texture hair, young women with Afro texture hair, young girls and women with Afro texture hair. We know their wants, they want to be able to care for their hair, right? What feature will provide your key benefit? So, with everything we said, one thing I also want to mention when you're doing your pain points and your value points, there's something called empathy map. Of course, from the survey, you can understand what they're saying, what they're thinking, what they're feeling. Really, what those things is just really to understand who the user what the user are really thinking. So say is more like what are they saying about their hair care routine? Because we sort of asked that question, what they're thinking, some might say, oh, I don't have money, I don't have time. The emotions they have behind it, are they frustrated? Are they embarrassed? Are they confused? All those kind of things. But now we want to kind of move into what feature we provide your key benefits. Can someone tell me, based on everything we've done so far, what do we think we can do for our users right now to actually help them and to provide benefits for them? Can someone give me any ideas? If you want to speak, please unmute yourself. No?
This
Anyone?
charts, like education on the right products. That's one. That's one we've, to educate them on the right products.
Yes, that's good. Any other thing?
Yeah, I feel like,
Any other?
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I feel like most of them don't actually know which product and how to use them. So they feel like as soon as they don't know how to use them, they will just leave
Yes.
it and live their life.
Right. Okay, that's fantastic. Another one, and we go to the next. Any other one we're thinking about? Nothing? So we talked about education, we talk about products. So I'll probably say knowledge as well. So product knowledge, tools. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Now, if you remember, it's a while ago, I'll show you the slide for the discovery. You have to do competitive analysis in anything you're doing. You have to, because you have to find out what's happening out there and what can you offer your users that is going to kind of like benefit them, or even what are you going to do above what other people are doing. So we are going to do our survey. So we go to the survey. So we have, I just say let's say value element here. So usually you look at like 3 companies. It's good to look at more, but at some points you have to kind of make it shorter and probably look at 3. So let's say we decide to do 3 here. We say competitor X, Y, and Z. What are we trying to do? Remember, not only us know that this is this kind of problem out there, and there are companies that will provide solution for their customers. So some of the things we're thinking based on all our research and how we're shaping our idea for our customers, we're thinking, okay, we would like to know, we talked about hair education, we did talk about personalization as well. So we probably say, do they take personal clients or something like that? Be good to know, like, is that something possible? Do they have like a starter pack or something? So remember, when you're doing your competitive analysis based on your outcome, or your outcome on your research, it helps you and informs you on how you're going to think about what you can do for your customers or for your users. So hair education, let's say the first company, you're rating them from 0 to 10. Let's say the first company, we give them, I don't know. Let's say the first company is our company, we give us 8, right? The next company on here, we give them 9 because they are excellent with hair education. Same thing here, we give them 9. Personalization on here, of course, we're still doing it. I just said 8. And the other companies is 9. They're big on that. Now, on starter pack, company Y, 0. Company Z, 0. But us, if we do starter pack, it's going to be a 10. So really, what you're trying to do is you're trying to ensure that you're building or creating something that would delight your customer and that will give you an edge and give you differentiation among your competitor. So having a starter pack, we actually set you aside, or we make you kind of like how can I put it? It probably make you more attractive than the other competitors. So, someone that have issue with their hair and they're still looking at different products, as someone said, they're just like product junkie. I don't even know what I'm using. Or if I have a starter pack, that will actually help me to say, okay, this is what I need to do. This is the hair comb I need to use. This is all the products I need to use. Right. That makes a lot of sense. I actually know what I'm doing right now. I hope this makes a lot of sense before we move to the next part. If you have any questions, please ask, and then we can move to the next place. If you have any questions, let me know if there's anything in the chat so that we can move. Nothing. Okay, now let's move to the next bit. So we've done our survey. We know our product differentiation. We know the age range. We know we've done competitive analysis. We know sort of the areas we really want to focus on. Now, we want to say, we want to define our problems, the problem statement, the vision, and what we offer. So this would be a good exercise for us. So what do we think our problem statement will be? Anyone?
This might not be perfect, but I mean, let me just try.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Okay. So I mean, the statements can be, say, okay, a typical or an African woman who is finding it difficult to find solutions find solutions that will make her hair more beautiful and healthy due to reasons like not having time or other constraints, something like that.
Okay. Can anyone try? I'm waiting. We have a few people on the call, so please, you have to say something because it will help you formulate some of the ideas you have. And as I said, speaking out loud helps because you might think about some things in your head and you think it's right, but actually saying it out loud helps. So it'd be good to hear what other people think. And from there, let's think about the vision as well. So just based on what Iman said, we can really find it and say, when you're trying to create or when you're trying to write a problem statement, let's see if I can do that here. Let's see. If you're trying to do a problem statement, right? There are the things you need to look at. So let's say user, probably use a sticker note here. A solution or problem, let's say, because it helps you to sort of like structure it in a way that makes a little bit of sense. And then your problem would probably be here. So we have the problem. So just based on the problem here, I'll use what Imam has said here. I'll probably say, I don't need to type it, but I can say it. Women with Afro textured hair need a solution for moisturizing their hair effectively because many products exist and it's not designed for their hair. But if I say that, it's sort of like it's not like concise. So you need something concise and kind of like easy. So I will show you what we came up with, but I would like to, based on kind of like what I just said now. So women with Afro hair need solutions to moisturize their hair effectively because many existing products are not designed for their hair type and they often experience dryness and breakage. Now, what do you think that the vision will be for that? What do you think that will be the vision for that? Because you have to have a problem statement. You have a problem statement and you also have a vision statement. So what do you think that will be?
Yeah, man.
Listening?
So I feel like the vision should be maybe a way whereby they will help those African women maintain their hair and like the products and like enlighten them on how to use it and the side effect of the product.
Yeah, I like the way you're thinking. So you're saying that yes, the problem is, we know that the problem is most of the time they don't know what they're using with the product, but we're saying we need to be able to empower these women that have Afro hair by creating like innovative products, hair products that kind of nourish their hair care solution, promote healthy hair and sort of eliminate dryness, something like that, right? The vision is the opposite, really the opposite of the problem, making sure that, you are able to allow the women to be able to have a product they can use for their hair. Okay, I'm liking how you're thinking. What we offer? We sort of have answered this question, but I want to know if you guys are listening. So what are we going to offer to our users from everything we've talked about? Remember, is research in the first stage. Before you get to development, yeah, development is quite interesting when you've done all this research. And I think research is quite fun as well. Of course, when you follow the process, you actually enjoy it. So it would be good to know what you think about, the offer. What do we want to offer our users? What do you think we want to offer them? I think someone's written in the chat, so let's see what they've written there. Anything? Remember when we talked about hair education? We talk about hair education tools. Those are the things we need to think about. So from today, when you go to a website, like a serious business website, you see they talk about the vision of the company, but they always talk about like three things that stand out. Like, okay, what we do is to ensure that we provide service for our customers, we make things streamlined. They just focus on like almost like three things. So we can do that here as well of what we offer. So it's clear to the user. When the user land on the page, they know this is the vision, this is what we're trying to do. Does that make sense? I'll move to the next slide. Okay, this part, I quickly wanted to do that. I'm doing a lot tonight. It's a masterclass I'm just going to give you something really quickly. So, user journey. When you're doing your user journey, say, hey, yes, we've gotten all the feedback. We know what we want to serve our customers. We know what we want to offer our customers. How does our user interact with our platform? Remember, there's an existing website where we sell products, but what do we want to offer them? So we have to think about that process as well. So you have a journey map that you have. This is just like a really simple one. It could be as complicated as you want it, but we say, the customer land on our website, there's maybe the hair plan consultation they might have, and there might be various questions that might be asked from them. And then we sort of like assess. It's kind of like an assessment for them to see, where they stand with the problems that they are facing. Because that's for you is kind of like it's kind of like data gathering for you to be able to get that, and then you develop a kind of like custom hair care for them. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Everything will come together as we go. Just let me know if you're making sense, and I can go to the next bit. Okay. So as a user, you will then prepare a backlog refinement, but we don't need to go through that. Let's go to prototyping. So after all that done, this is what we created. We said hair care plan for women with Afro hair. That's the vision. What we offer, hair care tools, product knowledge. So the hair care tools, we utilize the perfect tools for your hair and to retain and improve its length, texture, and look. And then product knowledge is understand the different products that will transform the hair of your, transform the health of your Afro hair. Then we have techniques, discover the perfect method that works for you, for your hair, so that you are able to achieve your goal. So remember, I was talking about that three things when you land on your site. Most of the time, when you're working on an initiative or project, if it's something new, you sort of have like a prototype. Sometimes you have like a prototype because, of course, it's something new and you test the markets to see, if the user can interact with your platform and they find it very easy to use. All that feedback, you get that back, and then you kind of like work on it, iterate. So this is the first one. And the second one is this one. So say, for example, you had, your developer trying to change this into the website and you wrote all your requirements and this is what you came up with. Like, you have a booking, you saw the website, you're like, no, this is not what, when you then put it out to some of the users, because remember, you've not gone live yet. It's not something you wanted. You go back to the drawing board and you iterate again. Shape. And then the next one is the website. So here it clearly says everything we've been talking about. So you say you want your user to be able to book an appointment and you really state clearly what they're going to get out of it. So, they're going to personalize a consultation for you one-on-one so that you can be able to get your hair in a healthy state. The benefits you're going to get from it, you uncover your hair and scalp history, evaluate your hair care regimen, receive valuable insights about your hair, like technique and advice, and how the session will be. So that vision that we carve out, I'm going to show you. This is it. Achieve healthy hair, Afro hair, with our tailored hair care plan. Elevate your Afro hair care with products crafted for moisture strength and growth. Experience the unique benefits designed for you. Of course, you can take this out and just leave just Afro healthy hair with our tailor hair care routine. And then from here, you see all that 3 things that we spoke about here. Every time as a product person, this is what you're going to be doing. Every time. You have to be able to understand the problem, know the vision, get all the, do all your empathy, pinpoint challenges, look at your qualitative and quantitative data, analyze all those data, and then come up with like really big requirements and things you would like to build into your product. Do a prototype or do a full-on MVP, or you say, actually, I have 10 things I want to build. Let me focus on 5. Test run it with your user and keep on improving, keep on improving, keep on improving. And this is some of the roles of a product manager. I talked about validation and feedback. So it's important to have your metrics. Like, for example, you might, with the first iteration, you might want to know, actually, have we achieved 90% of our customer satisfaction? Another metrics could be all the functionality. Are they working very well? Is there anything that the user are complaining about? Customer satisfaction, adoption rate, retention rate, conversion rate. Is there any bugs? Is there any issues you might have? All that you need to be able to get that, and then you keep on refining it. Now, the last thing I'll talk about, which is coming to an end, roadmap. Sometimes you can create, like if you've been in the role for a while, you can create your roadmap in the beginning, but I just wanted to show you an example. You can say, discovery phase, it's going to take 6 weeks or it's going to take 6 months, depending on the kind of products you're working on and different teams. Prototype, you work with the designer. So you're the product person, you work with the designer, and for anything else, you work with other teams to approve the design. So it could be if you're working in a regulated environment, it could be the compliance, and also you might need the marketing team and the content creator and the content person as well. And also you then move to development. So you plan that as well, and validation. But remember, you work in an agile way in technology because it's not waterfall. It's not step by step, so you iterate all the time. And then the last one here is your metrics. Your metrics is so important because you have to know how your users are interacting with your platform. So you want to know how many people are using it, how many customers do we have on, are we actually doing well? Is it accessible to our users on the platform we have built? How many customers have we built over time? Some of your roadmap can be short term, long term. So it could be, a year, and then you do 3 years, 5 years sometimes. So it's just one of those things that you do as a product manager. You own the roadmap. And that's kind of it, really. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I think I have one, but mine would kind of like just go back to what on the stage where you are making research, and how do you know that? How do you know that? Okay, you've done enough research or you've gotten enough data in terms of you want to do a survey. Do you target 100%? Do you target 200%? For example, now for this our case study, there are a lot of African or Black, or I mean, short women, in one region like UK. There are so many of them. So how many can we use to do our tests? So
yeah, I'll probably say to really get a good result, you can do 50. Because really, after 50, all the answers, actually, after 7, you get the same answers, but you can do 50 so that you're not going with gut feel. So you do 50, and you can do it differently. You can do like 10 calls. You can say, okay, you send 10 via WhatsApp, or you can do surveys. So you get a mix of everything. So I'll probably say 50 to 100 you can do, depending on how many people. Sometimes when you're working on a certain project, it might be hard to get people, but yeah, you can do as much as that because there are lots of people that have Afro hair, and then you can do that. Yeah. Any other questions?
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Taiki, I think you're unmuting your mic. Do you have any question? Before Taiki comes up, I think I have another one. Which now cards down to now I'm a PM or I'm a product manager. I've been able to do all of my research. We've set timelines. We're using agile methodology, so which means we are kind of like testing and doing the work at the same time or around the clock. How do you manage, or the PM now practically, how do you manage timing when you, for example, one of your team members, like the developers now are not delivering on time? How best do you manage those situations?
Okay, so this I wanted to go to, but I wasn't sure if I had time. So, but with the question, so after you've asked all those questions and you know the functionality you want to work on your, you know the features you want to deliver for your products, you have a plan. So you have your black backlog plan requirements. Sorry. So say for example, home, you have here home. This is just an example. Then you have header, and then you have footer. And in here, you sort of have your requirements written here. So this is as a user, I want to be able to navigate through this, blah, blah, blah. So when you're having your weekly or sprint meetings, in there, you have to talk about how many people are going to be around in the next sprint. So if you have 2 developers and 2 backend and 1 designer, and one of the backend persons said they're not going to be around, you have to ensure that you're putting that in and say, actually, we have 10 things we wanted to work on in this sprint, but because one person is going to be ill or someone is ill, somebody's on holiday, we will not be able to do that. So you have to reduce. So you constant prioritizing and refining your backlog or your next sprint to make sure that you're not taking on too much. And also, when you're doing your requirements, to be able to prioritize according to your needs, you use the different ways of doing that, but I mostly use Moscow. So must have, should have, could have. The must have is something that is important that we can't do without. Could, something that could come later and we can still manage without the must. But won't have is something that we don't need at all. So you have to prioritize all those requirements. And that is one of your key role as a product person, is to ensure that you're constantly refining your backlog, constantly prioritizing your requirements. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, perfectly. Thank you very much. Coming back to this dashboard where we have cards and you're delegating tasks to everybody, kind of like monitoring it with deadlines and all, makes it very visible and clear. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So any others? If there's no more, we can
All right.
end it.
Thank you very much.